Chapter 2. Letter 1.
Dear Dwayne, my love. How are you, my darling, sincere Dwayne? Thank you for the card. It was sweet. The things you say remind me of how a man is supposed to adore his woman. Although you're not the man you want to be for me right now, man, you've got me hooked on your love. I'm doing okay as usual. Since I've been writing, I have nothing much to say. Speaking of writing, here. The following is the story you've requested. Before you read, I'll give you warning that there are good times. Ones with laughter and love, bad times. Things that were sinful, cruel, heartfelt, or hurtful. Now, I need you to know how I've witnessed such things, so please just try not to judge me. As much as you can see, I somehow survived it. Knowing you, like I think I do, you won't judge me for my actions, deeds, where I come from, nor how I am. Because you're a better man than that, or so I pray you are. So, without further delay, please begin to be entertained. Enjoy, my sweet. The good. My mom was good to me growing up in the Tower Hill apartments in Nowhere, Delaware. She was the apple of my eye. Going to the park, my aunt's house, and playing outside with my siblings was all I knew. We'd have barbecues, parties, and outings back to back. My mother, Carolyn, also known as Lynn, or Mommy, was a single mother. Mom had one daughter, Paulette, in 1972 with a man by the name of Paul. In 1974, she had another baby girl named Nene. Her father is a man by the name of Albert. How my mother and father met is still a mystery to me, however, I know that it had something to do with Paul, because he and my father, Oscar, are first cousins. They got together sometime before Nene was conceived. Then, sometime between Nene's birth in 1972 and having me in 1974, my dad had another daughter, Michelle, also known as Shelley, my third older sister, the very same year as me, 26 days apart. Not to get ahead of myself, when I was conceived, my father was married to Dolores, Shelley's mother. Then, on that very same day, my grandmother went to the house, announced her son's marriage to Dolores, and kicked them out to make room for his other ready-made family. There, Carolyn was with two little girls and me on the way with no place to go, all at the tender age of 21. After 2 years had almost passed, my mother had two more children, sons, Leroy and Lee John, by a man named Leroy Harold Perkins. They were very strong-minded and opinionated little tykes from day one. Being identical twins was every bit their trademark, no one could tell them apart. Leroy and Lee John are twins who were born minutes apart from one another, however, they don't share the same birthday. Leroy was born at 11:56 p.m. on December 2nd, and Lee John was born at 12:02 a.m. on the 3rd. This makes our household a total of 6, one adult, my mother, and her 5 children. My mom was always there through the bumps and bruises and any little scrape any one of her 5 children would get. She was an excellent mother. The bad. Daddy dearest. Paulette's father, Paul, was living a life with his wife somewhere within driving distance, however, he never came around. He was more of the baby-making and drug-doing type than the daddy type. Nene's and my father, Oscar, still lived on Boone Street just a couple of towns over from us. Fewtown, Delaware, is where he lived with his wife, and his 2 little girls, Shelley and Dolores, are blood sisters. He was definitely around. Around all of the fish, chicks, and drugs he wanted. Oscar came by here and there. On his visits, he put beer in my baby bottle for me to drink time and time again. Leroy's and Lee John's father, Leroy, came around as well, here and there, until they were at least 4 years old. Our fathers were not in our lives like they should have been. Visiting the grandparents. We lived a comfortable life of the outings, parks, school, play, and discipline. We loved our mother, and she loved us. We'd visit the grandparents on a regular basis, and it was always fun. In DE, the snow would fall, and as far as the eyes could see, everything was white. The trees were heavy as some of their branches were starting to touch the snowbanks below. A lot of the times there would be at least 1 foot of snow to play in. It was a cold winter's day.
I can remember how easy it was to get a huge ball of snow out of a tiny one rolled around for a while. It would get as tall as me. I was a shorter than average, 3 foot tall, 5-year-old at that time.
On this particular day, my mother decided to join us in the building of the snowmen and angels. A picture of my mom playing outside one day still lingers around in an old photo album somewhere. In that picture, she wore a puke green jacket with layers of sweaters underneath of it. She didn't even have the correct clothes to play in the snow with her children, but she did it anyway. All the while, her children were dressed in appropriate matching snow pants, jackets, and boots. Well, that day we let our grandparents' dog, Scooter, a fully grown German Shepherd, loose to chase us in the snow. Afterward, our playtime was over. I remember having to dry our socks and gloves next to the kerosene heater in the living room. Afterwards, we drank cocoa and then headed back home in our green Volkswagen Bug my mother acquired from one of her lovers. The bad. Although I don't remember most visits to my grandparents' house, I do remember one very vividly. This visit was when my grandmother had just gotten out of the hospital and she had to sleep in a hospital bed in her own home. Well, since I was a mommy's girl, I was up under her while she visited with her mom. The other 4 kids were outside when my grandmother, Grandma Nanna, started smelling something weird. My mom said that she knew it wasn't any of her kids playing in the sewer, as Grandma Nanna had suggested, but she went to look anyway. As she left, I noticed that my grandmother's gown was wet around her lower stomach because it had been sticking to her skin. As my mom returned to tell the verdict on what she had already known, it was brought to her attention about the gown. She investigated and agreed with my grandmother and said,
"Mom, that's the smell. It's coming from you. You must have busted your stitches and reopened your wound."
Grandma Nanna had indeed busted her stitches and was leaking all over herself. It smelled horrible, like decaying flesh. When she rolled to her side, you could see the imprint of her intestines pressing against her gown. This was horrible.
"Mom, please, I insist. Sit back and lie still until help arrives."
My grandfather and the ambulance were called. He arrived just in time to assist the 2 little white women carry his wife off in a stretcher. I remembered their uniforms were dresses like nurses of that day. Unlike the boring blue pant uniforms worn today by the emergency squads, their uniforms were traditional white shirts, skirts, and a matching, triangle white hat with a red stripe. Little people life. The good. My first boyfriend's name was Hanson Battle. I remember when we were in preschool together, his mother would condone us being the little couple by letting us hold hands and play together at recess. Not remembering why, she got to spend so much time with us at school. It was nice to have one of our mothers around. Milk. There are 2 pictures that bring back memories of me and my little brothers. These pictures depicted a time when I was about 2 or 3 years old. I remember my baby brothers, stilling their walkers, wanting something to drink. So, I went to my mom and asked her if I could get them some milk. She decided this would be a perfect time to take pictures, and she did just that. The pictures caught me carrying the milk to them and pouring it into one of their bottles. I was a great older sister. Mommy would take us to the shore. There we'd join our grandparents at their old retirees' picnic they were invited to yearly. It was always great fun to be around a whole bunch of people dancing, playing, and eating all day. There was one picnic all of us children were up on the portable stage dancing. My little brothers were showstoppers with their break dancing skills at the tender age of 3. The bad.